the grooming and training plays a pivotal role in shaping the society. You all are at an age where right habits and attitude go a very long way. Whom you decide to idolize decides what you would become. TMA is a group of professionals who have diverse experience and expertise. As they say, knowledge grows by sharing. Vidya danena vardhati. So in that sense, TMA looks forward to synergize experienced manager to the managers of tomorrow. Just to give a little bit of input about what Trivandrum Management Association is, Trivandrum Management Association is one of the premier management association in the country. It is affiliated to All India Management Association, New Delhi, and was established in 1985 by a group of dedicated and enterprising management leaders. Trivandrum Management Association is actively engaged in the promotion of education and training in management. Through its various activities, the association has contributed significantly to the promotion of management development in the country, particularly in the state of Kerala. We are very, very fortunate to have Mr. Rajesh Jha, MD and CEO, Adani Group, as the president of TMA. As we all know, Adani Port is the major connecting project which promises to transform maritime trade activities in the subcontinent and Trivandrum city in its entirety. May I request Mr. Rajesh Jha, MD and CEO, Adani Viഴിഞ്ഞം Port, to do the inaugural address and open the student chapter of the elite series of talk for this particular committee. Thank you so
much. Thank you, Ragastri. Good evening to all of you. I'm really very excited about today's talk and the first of the Enlight series of talk for the MBA school students. I went through the resume of Alok, and after seeing his details, I think that Sunil and Ragastri has done a very good job. We could not have got a better speaker than Alok. And I was just talking to Alok, and this campus to corporate is a huge transition. Since I've been told by Ragastri to talk for a very small duration, so I'll just give you one example. That is, I did my engineering from IIT Roorkee, and then I was placed in Tata Steel. And this campus to corporate reminds me of the kind of swimming test that we used to have at Roorkee. So after 1 month of training in the swimming pool, the test qualification required that we are taken to the river, which was a canal, and all of us were starting from the same point, and then towards the other bank, we have to swim and cross. And all of us used to take different time. For the swimming pool, it was static water, but in a river or in a canal, the current of water comes in. So all of us used to land at a different distance on the other side of the bank. That is what campus to corporate is. The current of the corporate. It is a new dimension that adds to your life. And that is why today's lecture is so important, which Alok will touch upon as to how does it transform your life and what kind of demand and pressure that it puts in. And obviously, I'm very sure that you will benefit from this talk, and you all are looking forward to join some kind of a corporate life, or you would like to start some kind of a startup of your own. In both the cases, it will be a tremendous insight that will be presented by Alok. Now I'll request Sunil to introduce the speaker of the evening today.
Dear student chapter members, members of TMA, our guest Sri Alok Kumar Tripathi sir. It's actually a great privilege for me to introduce before you our guest speaker Sri Alok Kumar Tripathi today. Sir, Tripathi sir is known to me since last 10 years, and I was fortunate to be his classmate during his MBA days. And it was a very learning experience for me to sit with him. So I have a more than reading his CV, I have a kind of personal association with him, which I want to tell in the beginning itself, before enumerating his CV or just reading out his CV. See, Mr. Tripathi is a management professional with more than 30 years of experience in learning and development field, talent management, mentoring, business strategy, marketing, and consulting. He did his BTech in the prestigious BIT Mesra, and he came second in that batch. He did his MBA with a specialization in MBA in strategy and marketing from MDA. There I was fortunate to be his classmate then, which I told earlier. For his performance as a topper in this course, mind you, this was a very difficult course, and he stood among all of us 60 students. He stood first, and he was recipient of the Prime Minister's medal then, and he was also recipient of the ITC instituted a medal for marketing and marketing optional, and he was also recipient of that medal. So he was both winner of gold medal, Prime Minister's gold medal, and ITC gold medal then. Coming to his professional experience, he started his career as a trainee engineer with NTPC and rose to the rank of additional general manager. He worked he worked in various areas from plant operation to training and development. He was also he also served NTPC as head of business development in Dubai region for a period of 3 years from 2008 to 2011. As a speaker and as a mentor, he contributed significantly for mentoring the trainee engineers and the new talents of NTPC during his days in NTPC Project Management Institute. If I enumerate the certifications and the qualifications acquired by him over the years, it would be, the time would not be adequate. So I would just tell 2-3 certifications, like project management certification. He is a certified project management person from PMI. He is also a certified energy manager. There are many other certifications in his CV, which I am not going to enumerate now. With this brief introduction, I believe that Tripathi sir's today's talk will be very much beneficial to our management students who are members of our student management chapter. I welcome Tripathi sir. The dais is now on to the mic is now on to Tripathi sir. Tripathi sir, for your
thank you very much, Sunilji. I'm really humbled by the kind words and the praises that you have showered upon me. It makes me more humble, and I'm really delighted to be with you all this evening, and it's really a pleasure and privilege for me to be associated with Reminder Management Association. So thank you from core of my heart. This is something which I really love to do, and thank you for providing this opportunity to me. So respected Sri Rajesh Jhaji, President TMA and MD and CEO Adani Vijigam Port Private Limited, Wing Commander Ragashri D. Nair, Madam, who is Chairperson of TMA Student Chapter, Mr. Nahas, I think he's connected with us. He is member of TMA Student Chapter Committee. My dear colleague Sunil, a close friend. Mr. Jan Richard, I think he's from the student body. Shaji, Jinu, all the young boys and girls, a very warm good evening from me. And it's a real pleasure to get this opportunity to share my views, some of my thoughts, and something which I would like to give away to you as you progress from your campus life to the corporate life. So thank you once again. I'm going to now share my PPT, and through which we'll start talking. If you have questions, you can put them in the chat. I would love to answer them towards the end. So it's really a great pleasure for me, and allow me to share my PPT. I can see the number of participants is already 115. and that's a great, I would say, great gathering and great service that I think TMA is doing. I'm really delighted at the work that you are doing, bringing managers and youth together. This is really a great work. And under the leadership of Rajesh Jhaji, I'm sure this will go to much higher glories. So let me now share my screen with you and just confirm that you are able to share my screen so that I can proceed further. If you're able to see my screen, just maybe one of you can probably confirm. Is it visible?
Not yet.
Okay. Give me one minute.
Yeah, visible.
Okay, great.
It is now visible. Now visible.
Okay. So we are going to talk about campus to corporate, and this is about taking your first steps into the corporate world. My dear young boys and girls, and all my seniors and colleagues here, we are going to cover these 4 things today evening in about a little more than 1 hour. We'll talk about some pulse of wisdom from some great people. This is what they have said about, particularly about this transition which you will be doing. So I've collected some of the gems and some pearls for you, which I'll share with you. Then we'll talk about creating your own brand. This is very important as you step into the corporate world. We'll also spend a little time on knowing about yourself. And then finally, we'll talk about some 13 critical skills that you will need as you make this transition. So let's begin this journey and start with something which I have collected from these 2 great people, Charles J. Sykes and Bill Gates. There are some things which Bill Gates has said, probably in one of his addresses to the migrating students who were going into the corporate world. Some people say that these thoughts are attributed to Charles J. Sykes, who's an American politician and analyst. So I thought to give credit to both these gentlemen, because I don't want to land into that controversy that who said it first. But these things, what they call as titled things, we will never learn in school. So we are going to see some of those pearls of wisdom, and the first one comes here. Life is not fair, get used to it. And this is something which matches with the metaphor that Sri Rajesh Jha started with, that you are actually now migrating from swimming pool situation to a river situation. A swimming pool is something where you know that the water has so much of depth, and there is no current here, and if I start here, I'll end up here. But life is not like that. Life is a river where you will have currents, undercurrents. Sometimes you might even not see there is a current. And probably you will notice that life would not be as fair to you as it might appear in your campus career. So in the campus career, probably you have a relationship where 1 + 1 + 1 is 2. So if you work hard, if you learn hard, you'll score good in the exams. But in the corporate world, this might not happen. Sometimes you work hard, you fail, or you seem that you have done a wonderful job, but your boss says it's a lousy job. Sometimes you feel that you're on the top of the world, and then you suddenly find that everybody is criticizing your actions. Sometimes you have done a wonderful job and somebody else takes the credit. So the first thing that you should get used to it is life will not be 1 + 1 = 2. And you have to still excel. You have to still put your mark. You have to still show that you shine. So get used to it. Don't get disheartened by this. As you make this transition, this is going to happen. Sometimes this even might happen during the transition. You might be a brilliant student, you might have learned very well, but you appear for a campus interview, you do not get selected. Don't get disheartened. This can start right now, but this will increase as you go into the real world. This is part of life. Smile and move ahead. Keep that resolve in you that I'll shine at the end of the day. A small failure is not end of the world. And don't expect everything to be fair. Just smile and move ahead. You will succeed ultimately. The second one, if you think your teacher is tough, wait till you get a boss. Now this may or may not be true, but this may be true in certain situations. So when you think that your teacher is giving you some assignments which looks like impossible, or he or she is giving you something which you have to slog overnight, you will get bigger assignments and maybe even bigger expectations from your boss. So don't think that your boss will be maybe a little rude to you, but it does not mean that he doesn't like you. He or she may have his own pressures. He may or she may have his own different goals, which might not be aligning with you, and you at times you may find them very tough. So no longer you can. It's not like bunking classes. You'll have to ask for leave from your boss, and your boss might simply say no. So you have to get used to it. Again, smile and think that this is part of transition. Be strong and take it in your stride. Understand that the boss has certain compulsions, certain pressures, and certain goals. Third one, television is not real life. In real life, people actually have to leave the coffee shop and go to jobs. So when Rajesh Jha sir is creating a port, people have to actually go to the shore and they have to work on machines, on cranes, on different kind of heavy duty machines, and they have to probably get dirty. So you can't sit always in a corner glass house and sip your coffee. This is something which you might have observed in certain television shows, but this may not be reality in each case. And that happens with a lot of people which come to NTPC. These boys and girls, they always think that all the jobs are in Bangalore. Then who will produce this electricity, which is actually going to your house today? These power plants are located in far off locations. Of course, we create top of the line facilities. We create everything for a comfortable and very, I would say, modern living. But then somebody has to take charge of these installations. Somebody have to actually work so that the nation moves. The machinery of the nation moves. And you take pride in doing that. Don't always take pride in sitting into big metro cities and having a beautiful chamber. That's not life. The real show runs here. So you have to be ready to take these avenues, these new situations in life, be ready to take them in stride and be ready to excel there as well. You might get a corner office, that's fine. But don't only look at that as a success parameter. Leave that for TV shows. This is another very important thing. Pay attention to people with whom you spend time. So in the office, you will find different kind of people. There are people who will always be criticizing your own company. There will be people who will always be criticizing all the policies that your company has. There will be people who will always be criticizing the boss. And there are people who will always be optimistic. With still a lot of difficulties or maybe still a lot of roadblocks, they will still be positive. So you have to choose which way you want to go. So pay attention to the people, because your thought will also be shaped through this company. So try to have a good company and try to select people carefully with whom you spend time, because your persona will be actually shaped through your through the people with whom you interact and spend time. This is another one. The world won't care about your self-esteem. The world will expect you to accomplish something before you feel good about yourself. So suppose you have a degree from IT or NIT or from top institutions, that gives you a launch pad, but that is not something which you can always wear on your sleeves and go to work. People would actually forget. Suppose we take 100 engineers in NTPC or in ONGC or maybe Tata Steel or maybe anywhere to take Infosys, whatever stream you come from, it can be any kind of company. It gives you a platform till the time you enter the company. After that, people forget. They don't care whether you are from IT or from the top institute or you're from a middle drug institute. What matters is whatever you deliver. So don't only live in that cocoon that I have such a great degree in my sleeve and therefore I am on the top of the world. You have to actually go and accomplish tasks. So whatever you deliver will be valued. So keep this in mind from the very beginning and be sensitive about it. Always remember this, optimism can take you far. There will be friends, there will be situations when you will be facing tough times. And as this famous book says, this book is from Robert S. Scholler, it says tough times never last, but tough people do. You'll have difficulties in the career. It can happen early in the career, mid-career, even late in the career. You'll have setbacks. You will have people who get promotions out of the turn and you are still struggling, but don't get disheartened. Be tough, shine wherever you are. And this can happen even while you are trying for a job. Don't get disheartened. This is something which evens out through the life. Life is a big leveler. So don't think that somebody got a placement ahead of you is a big winner and you are a loser. Never think that. You are a winner and you'll remain like that. So we are talking about now transition to corporate culture, and we will talk about the brand view, spend some time on it, and then we'll go to the other skills. So friends, it's very important to build a brand. I'm going to show you some pictures, and I would like to imagine or maybe even type what comes to your mind when you see this particular logo. What attribute about the company comes to your mind? So you can just type in the chat box. You can see this. I don't think I need to explain what brand is this. Just have a look at it and write one or two attributes in the chat box. This is another one. Maybe a couple of your reactions to this. Here another one. I'm not able to see the chat, but I hope somebody can quickly see and read out for some of the reactions if they are coming. So just write the brand and the one of the attribute that comes to your mind. Any one of them. You can take anyone. It's your choice. Take anyone and write what attribute comes to your mind. If there are some reactions, can Jan Richard, you can read some of them for me? Because I'm not able to see the chat here. Richard, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
If one or two, I don't want all of them. Just read one of them, the name of the company and the attribute that people write.
Okay, so the few of the messages that has come in the chat box is that for Apple they have given premium quality.
Yes.
Disney they have given creativity.
Great, great.
So
I just wanted these couple of clues. Now see, when you see this logo, there is a certain attribute that comes to your mind, right? This happens with individuals also. What will happen if people take your name in the company? Imagine what attribute you are displaying. When these brands display an attribute, we as individuals also display certain attributes. And I'm going to show you another picture here. Look at these people. All of them have created their brand. all of them. And they have worked hard for it. They have been consistently demonstrating their values in life. And that is how they created a brand for themselves. You don't have to actually go and describe them once you take their name. These are big names. But the faces in the companies, they may not be as big as these, but each one of you, believe me, each one of us carry our brand. When people take our names, maybe after 3-4 years when you are in the corporate world, people will attribute certain attributes to you. That is very sincere, is very dependable, very knowledgeable. Or there could be other opposite adjectives also. You have to choose your path very carefully. And these brands once created, mind you, look at another brand here which fell and fell badly. It is also important to guard your reputation through consistent action. So while creating a brand takes a lot of effort, a single action of yours can ruin the brand. So also be very, very careful about how you create your brand and then how you safeguard it. So it's important when you enter the corporate world, you have to establish yourself as a brand and be aware of it and work for it from the very beginning. And for that, what we have to do is we have to first know ourselves. And I'll spend a little bit of time with them. Then we'll talk about certain skills. And within the skills, communication is a very, very important skill. So we'll talk about communication also. And we'll also look at some of the ethics and values related aspects. So this is how we are going to deal with this. And let's start with knowing yourself. So establishing a brand starts with knowing yourself, who you are. And when I say who you are, you have to understand what kind of brand you are going to establish yourself as. And for that, you have to do a little introspection. First of all, do a SWOT analysis of yourself. I'm sure you must have heard about this. So you have to know what are your strengths and you have to enhance those strengths. You should know what are your weaknesses. So do a little SWOT for yourself. Also look at opportunities that are coming and also look at the threats that might affect you in achieving your goals. It's very important. Do this SWOT analysis individually for each one of you. Hone your strength further so that they become even stronger. Work on your weaknesses. It's important. Take decisive steps to work on your weaknesses. Also harp on the opportunities that are coming on your way. Don't shy away, because success comes to those who harp on opportunities. Don't shy away on opportunities. Sometimes we feel timid and sometimes we leave opportunities. Don't let it go. If you are being offered as part of a member of a team who is going to do a very, I would say, challenging task, don't shy away. Get up, rise and say, yes, I want to be part of this committee. So if there are opportunities coming up, go and grab. Also be aware what kind of threats you might face. For example, this year is a huge threat to many of you. Many of you who are graduating this year would face difficulty in placements. But that's not the end. When the things become better, the opportunities will come galore and you will definitely get something or the other. But during that period, you have to actually create this SWOT for you and work on that. And you must have heard there is something called sharpening the saw. So till you are getting into a job or till you are getting into place somewhere or you have got a placement, sharpen your saw, and we'll talk about it a little bit more. So you have to, if you have to cut a hard wood log, you have to spend a lot of time on sharpening your saw. Don't just go and jump and start cutting. Know what you can do better than others and learn more on those skills. Be a top of the line performer in those particular skills where you feel you are better. Also know what your weaknesses, what opportunities are, and also know what success means to you. There might be different versions of success. In fact, I was attending a seminar by Dalai Lama in Delhi. It was 4 years back. It was a great hall filled by about 2,000 people. And when the Dalai Lama came on the stage, the first thing he said, which had a very deep impact on me. That world today does not need more successful people. The world today needs more happy people. Now think of it deeply. He's distinguishing between success and happiness. Sometimes we feel that running after something or a huge CTC is success. That might not be success. And ultimately, if you're looking for happiness, you may not be getting happiness in a very big fat CTC. So you have to also introspect and see what brings happiness in you. So a job of your liking or a particular field of working, it may not give you that high CTC, but it will give you happiness. So try to define your own success and look at this. This we have already discussed. I'm not going to spend time on this. Look at this. Life is not a rat race. Run your own race. Don't run others' race. If you want to excel in a certain field, go deep study, excel in that field. Don't look at, don't always compare yourself with others. Tread your own path, chase your own dreams. Don't always follow others, and don't get disheartened by somebody else's seeming success which you feel is a failure for you. Be bold. And remember, this whole world and the work that you're doing, God has given us a stage. And we all are performers. Whatever role is given, whatever role you choose, or whatever role comes your way, do it so nicely, so gracefully, that the world claps. That the world claps when you come on the stage, and the world keeps on clapping when you leave the stage. Bring the best in you. You might have seen in some of the beautiful dramas that sometimes an actor or an actress comes. She comes only for 2 minutes or 3 minutes or 5 minutes, but the role is so profound and so well played that it leaves an imprint on the viewers. So be your best actor. God has given us, all of us have been endowed with tremendous capabilities. Play your best. Start playing your best. Don't compromise. Give your best to the world every day. Anything else should not be acceptable. Leave your mark in everything that you do. Every day that passes gives you an opportunity to leave your imprint in this world. So whatever you do, do your best. In the student life, while you're migrating to the career in the corporate world, and while you're in the corporate world, play your best. This is a book which I was reading recently, and this is a lovely book which says, Die Empty. It means that many people, when they are nearing their maybe end of their professional life, or maybe even end of their physical life, they feel that I had a lot of things in me which probably I did not do. I did not display to the world my full capabilities. And this book says, when you die with satisfaction. Yes, I did my best. I did my best for which I was the role that God gave me. It may not be always role of a president. It can be any role, but you did it so gracefully that at the end of the day, or towards the fag end of your career, or towards the fag end of your life, you're happy and you're smiling that, yes, I did my best. This is a lovely book. I would also encourage you to read this. Now, friends, we are going to a little more explanatory stuff and more serious stuff. When you make this transition from campus to corporate, remember there are 4 domains of life which you have to balance. Until now, you may not have thought about this, but as you make your progression and you make this transition, remember that you will have to now juggle these 4 balls. One ball is your personal life, and within personal life, your health, your learning, your hobbies, and I would also probably suggest a little bit of spirituality. Spirituality does not mean doing the whole day some puja. It is about connecting to the divinity. You can have your own ways. That gives you anchoring in life and gives a lot of strength. So don't neglect this. There may be job which demands you 14 hours of work or 12 hours or work 10 hours of work, but you still have to remember that this one ball is in my hand. I have to handle this ball also. You can't drop this ball. And remember, this ball is a little fragile. If you drop this ball, this might break. The other ball is your family, your close family and friends. You have to balance that as well. You have to remain connected. You have to give time. You have to give attention. So don't forget, don't get so engrossed in life of work. Look at that, that is in the fourth quadrant there. That is important. I'm not saying that is not important. All of them are important. In the very early phase of your life, the quadrant 4 become a little larger. It's okay. The quadrant 4 will require more of your attention and time and energy. That's fine. But you can't make this whole circle green. It can't be 4 in the entire 4 quadrant. That's a terrible mistake that you might make. So that's why I have in fact inverted this circle. I'm not starting with 1. 4 will actually be always there. The work will demand your time and it will get your time. But for other 3, you'll have to make conscious efforts. The second is support for family and support from family. If you have read the book Ikigai, which is the Japanese way of living, which is a book on a particular place in Japan where most of the people live beyond 100. And they found that one of the secrets of their living so long and so happy life is that remain socially very connected. So don't get disconnected from your social life. And social life does not mean getting connected with WhatsApp and Facebook. It's deeper connection, something which you can share with your close friends, and you share their joys and sorrows, and they genuinely share their joys and sorrows. Family members and friends both, keep that circle alive. That will be your anchor for many different situations. Then also remember that we have come to this world not only to take our CTC, we are also here to give to society. And that will ultimately, at a stage in life, you'll realize that that gives you real joy. So always remember what you can do for others. There are people who are really very underprivileged. They are not in a good position. You are studying in good colleges and institutes. You are fortunate. There are people who can't afford a college education. There are people who can't afford a 2-time meal. So we should be helping them as well. And finally, 4th is work, which is equally important, very professional. Respect and recognition comes from that professionalism. Now let's spend time on those 13 critical skills that you will need as you make this transition. So this was a kind of background that we have set, and I'm now I'll take you through these 13 skills, and this is the list. These 13 skills which I have found in my life which are important for you. So I have curated them for you based on my experience of what I find in people, in youngsters who probably lack or who have not actually given much attention to this. So we start with communication skills, then setting goals, how to manage your time, working in teams, networking, how to be customer centric, how to always give your emphasis on learning, how do you demonstrate dependability, humility, integrity, personal etiquettes, safety, and ultimately never give up. So I'm going to maybe spend 3-4 minutes on 2-3 minutes on each of them because we have a time limitation. So let me start with this and note it down. Communication skill is one of the most important skills that you will need as you do your transition from the campus to corporate. So be serious about it, spend time, be very conscious about this. See, there are 3 kinds of skill that we all have or we are all expected to have. One is technical skills. So the coding that you have learned, or the fluid mechanics that you have learned, or the electromagnetism that you have learned, or the control and instrumentation that you have learned, whatever you have learned is your technical skill. Apart from that, you will need human skills. How to communicate, how to delegate, how to understand others' feelings, which is called emotional intelligence. And on top of that, you will also require conceptual skills. Conceptual skills means strategic skills. You'll need to know where my business is going, what is going to happen tomorrow. So those are different skills that you will need, but I'm not going to spend time on that. Look at the bigger circle, which encompasses all these skills, that is communication skills. So all these skills are actually demonstrated through your communication skills. If you have all these skills and you don't have a good communication skills, you will probably not be able to succeed in either of these three spheres. So it is important to have, it is important both for your business life and personal life. And good or bad communication creates your first and lasting impression. Suppose your first email or your first encounter as you join your company, or the first email that you write, if you make 2 spelling mistakes in that email, or if you write some jargons that you always write in your college days in your email, that leaves a little bitter taste. People will think that this boy or a girl is not actually that professional in approach. So be very cautious about communication. Be professional. Try to learn these skills. This is time to learn this, because this creates your first and lasting. And a recurrent error will create a stamp on you. So don't fall in this trap. And see, a communication skill can help you in many situations, in a meeting, an interview, or a client presentation, or you are presenting a big idea. It also help you in creating your first, I would say, impression. In fact, it starts by the type of CV that you create. So create an honest, it's not bust, it's but an honest but impressive CV. That is also a skill. You're communicating yourself, you're presenting yourself to the world. So be, I would say, smart, honest, and so that it is crisp and brings your everything on your on the screen of the person. Highlight the skill that company might need. This is for the before you go into the company. This will not work when you actually have the transition, but I thought maybe I'll include this slide as well. Hone the skills of writing, email etiquette. Start now. Be very proficient in MS PowerPoint and Excel. This is used so extensively these days in almost all the businesses. So spend time, do a course. Go to one of these self-learning sites. Maybe Coursera or Udemy, a lot of them have come up. Subscribe to a course. Do this. This will help you a lot in your professional career. Also start speaking about your profession, about you. Try to practice this. This will help you when you meet your boss. He would probably like to know about yourself. Be crisp. Start practicing this and understand. We say in NTPC that a nicely or poorly drafted note or a can reverse the decision. The same decision. Suppose you are making a note for an investment of say 10 crores rupees, and you have drafted the note well. The same decision, the same situation, the same everything same can convert the decision in your favor, or if it is poorly drafted, the decision can be reversed. So be serious about it. And remember, this is a study by PMI USA, Project Management Institute, which says that in large projects, 80% of the project manager's time goes on communication. So you have to communicate. You have to communicate for stating the deadlines. You have to communicate for even appreciating people. You have to communicate for reminding people. You have to communicate for dangers that are coming up in the project. So as a project head or as a president, lot of communication. You have to communicate company's vision. You have to communicate your goals. You have to communicate your resources. Everything goes through communication. So be very, if you have not worked on it, start working on it. Do mock discussions, do write emails between yourselves, and try to use professional language. This is another study which was done by PricewaterhouseCoopers, which says that the companies where they found that the communication skill of the manager, of the top manager was good, 80% of the projects met their original goals. 71% were on time and 76% were within budget, versus the other ones where the communication was not effective. And also remember, let me put this a little down. I think this is interfering with the. Always remember that when you are speaking to somebody, or if you are even giving an interview, there can be information need from your side, who is the sender, versus the other side, who is the receiver of information. So try to see who is the receiver of the information and what he or she wants. If you're writing an email, understand what the other party wants. If you're writing an email for even for a meeting, understand that what could be the requirements of the other person who is receiving the email. What is expected of him, you should write in the email. Similarly, you should write in the note sheet if it is going to your president. Suppose a note sheet is going to Sri Rajesh Jhaji. The person should know what are his preferences, what are his concerns. Is he concerned about, say, payback period of this initiative, or he is concerned about how many people we will need for this project? What would be his key concerns? If you are not addressing that in your note sheet, or it is not addressing that in your proposal, either the proposal might come back to you, or you might not get a favorable decision. And ultimately it delays the communication and the work also. So be very, very cautious and know what is required from the receiver's perspective. Also remember that time of communication is very important. Do not procrastinate the communication. If you feel there is something urgent and needs to be told, tell it. Don't be shy of this. There are a lot of people who actually wait till it is too late. Don't do that. Anticipate things and take proactive action. If you are in a job role and you are anticipating a problem, take action proactively. Don't wait till the problem actually comes. If you are finding that the supply is likely to get delayed, come in action. Start communicating with the vendor. Start communicating with the other stakeholders. Start communicating with your contracts and materials guy. It's important, and that creates that makes you successful in work. And delayed communication can be extremely costly, and we have seen this in many occasions. It can sometimes land you in legal problems also. If you're finding that there is a situation where we can have a legal obligation, be vocal, be proactive, and start working on that. Timing of communication. That was time of communication. This is timing of communication. Remember, you will have some subordinates working for you. Generally, the golden rule is, if you have to appreciate people, appreciate in public. And if you have to maybe give a negative feedback, or if you want somebody improvement feedback, probably you should take this in private. Don't criticize people in public. Sometimes people feel offended, and sometimes they lose motivation. So this is something which we should keep in mind. Sometimes people make this error. So you praise in private and sometimes reprimand in public, which is a negative thing to do. Always follow communication. If you sent an email, don't be sure that the other person has seen the email. Just check. If it is an important communication, double check. Probably I would give you one mantra that you believe that this mail has not been seen. Start from that belief. Or this communication has not reached. So check, double check. I have seen many of embarrassing moments because of this. Always give personal touch to communication. If you're writing a letter, write the name. It gives a different connotation. Suppose I write a letter on which I address it to President TMA versus Sri Rajesh Jha, President TMA, and MD and CEO Adani Minjagam Port Private Limited. These letters have different weightages. So try to know the name of the person when you are writing a serious communication. It is good to address it through the personal touches. Always also get connected personally through calls. Don't always communicate through WhatsApp or email. Personal touches are important. These days, the life is becoming impersonal. We don't even know each other. It's becoming faceless. But when you are crisis, WhatsApp will, when you land in a crisis, this WhatsApp message will not work. Then you have to have a rapport with that person. If you need from a colleague, you should build that rapport earlier itself. then he or she will be a phone call away. So always be mindful of this. Also, if there's a bad news, we as Indians find it very hard to communicate bad news. So if there's something difficult, or there is something which is happening which probably you think your boss may not like, we have a tendency to hide this information. So I was in Dubai for about 3 years, and I noticed there that there are large companies where a lot of Indians are there, and the Indians are in good positions. They are head of the departments, they are head of the big sections. But I noticed that there are almost nobody which is heading a complete big organization or a big project. So during my stay, this is an example I wanted to share with you. During my stay, I asked one of the senior sheikhs, those local Arabs, that I have observed this. There are Indians who are in very good positions, but I don't see them being the top man. There is always invariably a European or maybe American or even an Arab, but not an Indian. He said, Mr. Tripathi, we respect Indians very much. They are very sincere. If a European would probably work for 8 hours or 7 hours, an Indian would happily work for 12 hours. They are very, very sincere, very committed. But there are two things which which we personally find bad in, or I would say not so good in Indians. One is they hide bad news. If I am doing a very large project and he as a project manager is actually he is aware that something is going amiss, there is something which is likely to affect the project very heavily, and I'm going to miss the deadline, or a problem is coming up, he will not tell this till the last moment. Somehow culturally Indians are not very good at that. He will tell at the very last moment when things are beyond even my control as an owner. And the second one is the attitude of Indians towards safety is very poor. If I have a British project manager, he will not start the job unless all the safety things are complied. He will even not start the job if there are not proper washrooms created for the labor. Even if I pressurize him, he will not start, he will not do the work. He can probably, if I pressurize too much, he can say, sorry, sir, I may not be able to do this. I will look for some other opportunity. You kindly keep some other project manager. That's the kind of uncompromising stance that they have on safety. But Indians are somehow are not that committed on safety. These are the two aspects why Indians do not rise to the top level. So try to understand this, and I would request you to inculcate this in you. Also, when you're on work, ask for resources. Don't be shy. Be a little assertive in communication and say that I need this. Sometimes your boss may not be knowing that you are struggling with this because you have never asked. So it is important to ask this, be assertive, and I'm going to show a very little small video on this assertive communication. Hope it runs. You may not be able to hear the voice because voice is computerized, but you can just look at the video. So this was a small funny video which is that sometimes you don't ask and people, your project is getting delayed, you're struggling with it and you're not even letting your boss know. So be politely assertive and say, sir, I need this resource. If it is available within the company, your boss also is concerned with the project, so he will definitely try to help you out. So it is important to be sometimes leave your shyness away, but always be polite. Don't say that I can't do this, I can't do the work without this. Say, sir, if we have this, I'll be able to do it more efficiently. And sometimes, most of the times it will work. The second one, always have goals in life, even in now in student life and in other professional life. And you decide what are the important things that you want to achieve, and also get yourself satisfied why it is important to achieve. Sometimes you may find that this might look important on the surface, but it is not that effective for my goals. So be aware of that. And then they call it keep SMART goals. SMART means specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. So all your goals should be broken down. If you have a project, keep SMART goals and sub-goals. Be specific that by this weekend we'll do this. And keep it attainable and also time-based. And remain focused. So if you have, say, a big project, you break them down in smaller portions and write down your goals, mini goals. You do it in career also, do it in studies also. So if you have some time, make your goals. I'll learn these new skills in next 3 months when I'm sitting at home. I have this much time, I'll do a course on advanced Excel, or I'll do this course on a particular code, which is in demand. Keep reminding yourself of the progress. And that you should do while you're in work also. It's not only when you're not off work. And when you achieve those small successes, celebrate them. When you have the first goal achieved, do your little celebration. Treat yourself to some lovely dish that you like, or maybe because of the corona you can't go out and have party, but a little bit of celebration is fine. I will now spend a little bit time on time management, and I can see we are going a little away from our own timing, so I'll be a little fast, or maybe I'll skip 1 or 2 sections here. I'll just cursorily glance through them. So friends, look at this cartoon. I made a list of 100 things that I need to do and numbered them in order of urgency. And you see the last line here. Unfortunately, I find that 99 are at number 1. So this happens with many of us. And I find this with many youngsters. Sometimes I find that they don't even have time to comb their hair. They're so busy. So look at this. In life, we have these 4 quadrants where we have works. And there are, on x-axis, we have urgency. On y-axis, we have importance. So there are works which are urgent but not important. There are works which are urgent as well as important. There are works which are neither urgent nor important. And similarly, this quadrant, there are works which are important but not yet urgent. You have to understand all these 4 kinds of work. Sometimes what happens is, look at these red ones. This is normally what happens in life. A lot of things, 50-60% of your work will actually become urgent. It may not be very important, but it looks very urgent. You have to distinguish. Only really 15% work is urgent. You have to understand there are a lot of work which is important, but you are not given it time. Then what will happen? This important work will migrate here. It will become urgent. And you will always be struggling with your time. So first of all, as a leader, as a manager, you should understand what is important, what is critical for me. So here you take only 15% work, but a lot of work is here already. So green ones is what should be, 15 is what actually happens. Sorry, the red one is what actually happens. So you don't think that this is a big chunk where it is important. I'm not giving time. I'm always struggling here. So if you start working on these important things which will actually affect the project or your work, then this quadrant will become little easy. A lot of things when we actually, you spend a lot of time on looking at WhatsApp. messages. Maybe an hour or so goes there. This is neither urgent nor important. So you have to understand in life what is urgent, what is important for you, which mails you want to see, which you don't want to see, what is important, what steps you should take today. So I'm not going to spend much time here, but remember this quadrant. I've shared this PPT with you and maybe this will be given to you. So categorize your work in this quadrant and give attention to these, which are not yet urgent but important. Okay. So let's move ahead quickly. Don't procrastinate things. If there is something important, you must take action right now. If you have fear, face your fears. Keep time for unexpected. If you are given time and if you have always made your plan, leaving no room for unexpected or last minute changes, you will always struggle. So always be prepared for unexpected things that will come. Be flexible and keep some time for that. Always have a plan, be ready. If this does not work, have another plan. Always also learn sometimes to gracefully and politely say no. Suppose you have been given 3 projects already and there is 4 projects coming up, and you know that all these 3 projects are very critical. And if I take the 4th one, probably I'm going to miss the 3. Now you have to appraise this to your boss and appraise this in a manner that he understands your situation. Go with all the details, all the data, and tell, sir, we are working on these projects. Don't say I'm working. Sir, we are working on these 3 projects. This is the progress and this is what is left out. And we are now taking up this 4 project. I have these resources which I have put in all these 3 projects. If we divert this resource to this 4th project, this 1 or 2 might get delayed, sir. This is a situation which we have to review. And let us reset our priorities. The boss will understand. If he has to reset the priority, he will tell you, okay, let us pause this project for the moment and let us. Or you give alternatives. Sir, this particular project, this particular work can be done by this resource which is presently available or not engaged. Can we take them on board on this particular work? So if you say no with a solution or with a proper data, it is most of the time accepted and appreciated also. So don't just say no, I can't do this, I'm already very loaded. Go with a lot of data and tell it politely, it works. So you have to learn to say no, be polite, and give alternatives. Also create schedule for looking at mails, keep limited social network, keep all important contacts and passwords updated. Always keep contacts. This works very well. And I've seen people who struggle, I don't have his phone number, I don't have his email. So, and there are people I see on the organizations who always readily give, okay, I have his phone number. So if you encounter, there are colleagues, there are professional helps, there are your business partners, there are contractors, there are suppliers, always keep their numbers handy. That will be very, very useful. So be very, very, I would say, proactive in keeping up-to-date information with you. Don't always struggle for phone number and mails. So when you have first contact, or if you have an opportunity, save that number, save that email. Don't always look for perfection. This is another one which I wanted to share. Perfection sometimes takes a lot of time. So there are many organizations in the world, for example, GE. They say if you are 80% sure of a particular decision, of your particular proposal, do a little bit of polishing and go ahead. Don't always be facts. There should be no compromise. But don't be too perfectionist in everything. That probably can take a lot of time. Try to finish things in one go. This is another quick mantra for time management. Don't leave things halfway. Don't leave too many things halfway. It takes a lot of time. Also, unclutter your workplace, unclutter your desktop, unclutter your phone. Spend time on uncluttering. That increases your efficiency. Spend a lot of time. Anticipate things, as I told earlier also, in communication, it saves your time. If you anticipate things and take quick action, it saves your time. Now the next one, Up till now, mostly you have been excelling your personal endeavor. So if you stand first in the class, or if you are a topper, generally it is your personal endeavor. The hard work that you have put in, the efforts that you have made actually bring you to the pedestal 1, 2, 3. No more. When you enter a work world, you will actually fail or succeed in teams. So you will have to actually work with your other peers. You cannot actually individually succeed. So you have to take everybody around, and you have to understand which person has what kind of strength and what kind of weaknesses, and you have to work with people, understand them, trust them, help them also. Sometimes you might feel that one of my colleague is weak. In the student world, you might not actually go and help every weak student so that he comes to your level. But in professional work, you might have to do that as a team leader, or maybe even as a team member. You find that a particular person is weak, you have to actually maybe go and teach him advanced Excel. Nobody pays you for that, but you have to do that because you have to. If the team fails, you fail. If the team succeeds, you succeed. So remember that you have to build that relationship, build that strength. Sometimes you will have to depend on others. You have to delegate things. So have spent time in building that complete trust in each other. Take people along. Understand also the other's perspective. That's called emotional intelligence. So make a positive and genuine connection. Have a personal level rapport with your friends and colleagues and peers. So just asking how are you, also go a little bit deeper sometimes when you have time. Ask about family, ask about friends, ask about hobbies. So it gets a better, deeper connect. No blame games. You just cannot say that I did my work well and my team member didn't. Can you do this? Suppose you get a big project from a client, which is $1 million, $100 million, or $50 million, $10 million. Can you say that I did my work well, but sorry, sir, my colleague didn't do his work well. That's why we could not deliver the project in time. You can't do that. So no blame games will work. Be mindful of this. Always show respect. And there is something which I find in some people, even in some senior people, they say I'm very straightforward. I say everything what is true. This is not a good way in succeeding in corporate world. There is a shloka in Sanskrit which says, Satyam bruyat priyam bruyat. Na bruyat satyam apriyam. When you speak truth, speak in a manner that people accept and people like that truth. Don't speak a truth which is disrespectful or which ruffles people or which hurts people. So it's important to tell a professional truth, but you have to have that humility and respect. So don't think that if you say a spade, that is a very good quality. You have to tell a spade, but with a lot of caution, a lot of respect, and a lot of thoughtful language. Don't be in the impression that if you say things very straightforward, you will be a very successful or a very liked person. Don't be in that domain. So also appreciate that your boss might have his own pressures. I told you earlier, he might be harsh on you, but appreciate his goals. Figure out his strengths and weaknesses. Try how you can complement and give more strength to him or her. Understand his preferred style. That will help you in growing. Even if he's tough, understand what is that he wants. And set mutual expectations. Try to discuss. The more you discuss, the better your relationship will be. Try to know where you are doing well, what you should do more. Seek feedback. Keep him informed always. Be honest and open. And always be a good listener. I find this also lacking in many people. Some people in the mind are just ready to start their version before the other person actually stops speaking. We are so full, we have not actually listened to the other person. In the meeting, I see even in senior people, they have not actually listened to the other person's view. They are ready with their own version just to start firing. Don't be like that. Try to listen to the other person's perspective. then speak. You'll be much more effective. Sometimes I even see that people are doing hot altercation and both are telling the same thing. It is so funny. But they still are going because nobody is listening to the other. This happens. So be a good listener. And a lot of top leaders also, this is not, and it leads a little humility and respect for the others. Now the other one, networking. This is very important. As you enter your corporate job, your success will also of networking. Networking is like this. It's not only writing emails and exchanging WhatsApp, exchanging phone numbers. First of all, you have to establish yourself as a sincere and knowledgeable person in your work area. Then people would like you. So first of all, know what is happening in your industry. Read, write blogs, read articles, try to express an opinion. Even on WhatsApp, it's fine, but express professional opinion. Don't just forward messages, funny messages. That will, if it is something, if you are interested in economy, if you are interested in engineering, if you are interested in artificial intelligence, if you are interested in machine learning or whatever, try to share something which is related to that field. Create your image in, create an image in people that this person is interested and he actually knows about this subject. Will get attracted towards you, and then know who are the good professionals in this field in your company and in your industry, and then try to connect with them. That will help you in career progression as well as knowing the subject well. And don't actually immediately connect with seniors. Create a little bit of your image and then connect with seniors. They would love to connect with you. All seniors actually love to connect with youngsters, but you have to actually be professional in your approach and also demonstrate a little bit of, I would say, understanding of the business. So you will be respected and you will increase your connections. It's not just sending a request on LinkedIn and sending a request on Facebook. People might accept your request, but then that doesn't really create a good and long-lasting image. So you have to actually build that image and then parallelly do the networking. But be very careful. It is important. And nowadays it has become even more important. So, and connect beyond your industry, beyond your company. That is also important. That will sometimes help you in times of, if you want to learn more, or maybe you make a transition. Up till now, you have not been facing customers. But if you go into a company, you will face customers, and see there are customers of two types. Mostly in the early phases of your career, you will face either only the internal customer or both. Internal customers are all the departments, all the people with whom you work. So treat them as customers. This is the impression that I want to leave with you, that if you are working with others, treat them as customers. Value them as customers. There are customers who are external to organization. They are, of course, your customers, your bread and butter comes from them. But your internal other departments, suppose you are in operations, maintenance is your customer. If you are maintenance, operations is your customer. Treat them as customers, give the respect that they deserve. Know their concerns, know their pain areas, know their expectations, and work on them. That also will establish you as a good professional. You will have a lot of good relationships, and it will create your brand. Look at this. Look at what Steve Jobs says. Get closer than ever to your customers. So close that you tell them what they need well before they realize it themselves. So that's the level that these people have gone to. So if you think that here is your customer, try to know what his or her preferences are, what his or her pain areas are, what his or her concerns are, and work on them. You will really excel and shine. Seventh one is keep learning. Always, whole life, spend your time, money, energy on learning. This is, you should always remember. When you enter a job, it's not at all is the end of learning. Probably that is the beginning of learning. You have only got a foundation. You are on the platform. Now you have to go to the aircraft or in the train, and during the entire journey you have to learn things. So grab the opportunities to learn. Take opportunities to be part of work groups. Don't shy away. Initiate some activities of your own in the company. Do something that you have not done before. Learn something, some new skill. Read a good book every month. Readily put extra time, effort, and even money. I encourage my children to spend 5% of their salary on self-development and learning. And I all tell even my ETs and all other students, you are buying money not only for eating pizza and giving presents and living in a nice apartment. Spend on your professional upliftment. Make a budget for it. Buy courses. Don't only rely on your company. Your company will give you training, but do beyond that. Develop at least one niche skill. If you know that this software or this particular domain is coming up, try to learn before others learn and be on top of the line. Don't always expect your company to teach you everything. Even in your life now, if you have not made a transition to the corporate world, look at what is coming up. Take some courses. If you have spent a fortune on your degree, spend a little more here and take some external courses. It will add to your CV, it will add to your confidence, it will add to when you go to interview, and it will also add to your work when you join a company. But keep on learning, don't stop this. Be members of professional bodies, buy certain top line resources. If you can afford, become a member of, for example, Harvard Business Review. When you can afford, if you're early in the career, there are other things which you can do, but always keep some spend and some energy on increasing your professional work. Be dependable, keep promises. If in your job you have made a promise that I'll give this report by tomorrow evening, please honor that. And if you are able to do that, come back to your boss or your colleague or whosoever is before time and say, hey, because of this issue which has cropped up urgently or because of unexpectedly I'm not able to meet this deadline. It's not that you have promised that I'll give this report by 8 p.m. tomorrow and 8:30 your colleague or your boss calls you up and you say, sorry boss, I couldn't do this thing came up. If that has come up, it is your duty to inform well in advance. That's called dependability. Answer or return phone calls. I find even in youngsters, people don't return phone. If you're busy, if you're not able to answer, a professional setup will expect you to return phone calls. So understand there are certain important things. Your colleague might call you up, your boss might call you up. If your phone is on silent or if you're working something, always return the call. Rise to the occasion. There will be situations when your company is facing crisis. Don't be timid. Rise to the occasion, be with your team, be with your boss, be with your company. Be there, stand there, and say, I'm here to help in this situation. Adorn humility. As you grow up, a little success might bring a false sense of pride in you. While pride is good, it should not migrate to arrogance. Always be humble. Whatever the seat you reach, this is the ornament of a professional. Respect his opinion. If you have made mistakes, admit it. Don't try to shift it, blame others. A leader takes responsibility of the failure onto himself and gives the credit of success to colleagues and teams. Also acknowledge that while you or I might have a strong ability, others also have different abilities. Don't underestimate that. So respect others, be humble. Integrity. From the very first day, demonstrate utmost integrity. And how do you demonstrate it? One is walk the talk. If you say that this should be done and this is the right way of doing it, if you preach punctuality, be punctual. Take responsibility. Taking responsibility is also integrity. If something goes wrong, Be brave and take responsibility. Sir, this is our mistake. We'll amend it. We are going to do it next. We are going to do it in next 2 days, or we'll amend it next time, or this will not be repeated next time. That raises respect for you, rather than keeping a scapegoats. Don't be biased. You'll have people who are reporting to you, somebody maybe from your own Kerala state. There will be a chap who is from Bihar, who is working for you. There may be somebody who is from Uttar Pradesh. There may be somebody who is from West Bengal. Don't have cognitive biases about people. Be unbiased, because the chair demands that you be fair. Don't be maybe little favor, don't show little favor, or don't have favor for anybody. Be professional. Now everybody is equal for you. If somebody deserves a promotion, he might be from any state. Do what is right, and of course, be honest. That is the least. Don't ever be dishonest. Don't accept any undue favor. Even a small undue favor will ruin your reputation. As I told you in the very beginning, it's difficult to create a brand, but it is easy to lose it. And you can never come up from there. So be strong, be honest. And honesty will give you a lot of inner strength. Couple of minutes on last 2-3 skills. Personal etiquette. So a lot of things are important when you go to the corporate world. The way you groom, the way you appear will be important. Nowadays, youngsters have very different and funny kinds of appearances. It's good to be in fashion, but you have to look well groomed. So if you are keeping a beard, and these days, because of the corona, we have all kinds of faces. And but still, if you are in a corporate setup, you have to keep yourself tidy. You have to keep your hair well groomed. You can see my hair these days. This was very long, and this is a DIY type haircut. Do it yourself. So rather than having it long hair as a Rishi Muni, I try to do it in a way that probably makes me look as a corporate personality, but somehow I did a shabby job there. And then my wife joined in, and there was a little disaster here, but still we could. I think rather than having an unkempt long hair, this is slightly better. This was just in lighter vein, but always keep your. Suppose you are keeping beard, keep it groomed. I have seen in the Middle East, if you see these sheikhs, they all keep beard, but they spend so much of time and so much of money in keeping it so neatly, what they call as manicured or whatever. So don't carry that casual 20+ look. You have to look a little professional, and that goes with dress also. Even in this digital setup, you have to dress appropriately. Sometimes I find people who are in very shabby t-shirts and maybe even half pants, and sometimes they are asked to switch on their video, and it is embarrassing for them and embarrassing for everybody. So even if you are on digital mode meeting, dress properly, dress for the occasion. That not only will enhance your appearance, it also enhances the way you speak. So everything works on your psyche. Always have a professional dial tone. जब आप corporate world में जाते हैं तो तरह-तरह के those funky songs, you can have some good dial tone, but a very funky kind of song would probably not work when you're in a corporate setup. You can keep, if you have 2 scenes, you can keep the song for the other scene, which is for the personal use. For the professional use, you have to have some professional dial tone. Always create a business card. Sometimes there is a whole etiquette of business cards. Try to learn how to take and receive. Because of the corona, these personal meetings are not happening. But then we are sure very soon this will end and you'll need these business cards. So keep professional business cards. I see people who cut a sorry figure and say, I don't have a business card. So go, when you're going in a meeting, please carry your business card. That gives a professional impression. Also, in these days, digital presence is very, very common. So when you are going for a meeting, a professional meeting, be acquainted with the software, system requirements, try it first. Otherwise, you will struggle, you will spoil the whole meeting sometimes. One or two people sometimes spoil the whole meeting. Your voice is not coming, your pictures are not being seen, so a lot of things happen. Check the meeting link, ID, password, make sure you have everything ready. Join the meeting about 10 minutes ahead. Dress appropriately, I said earlier as well. Be aware of your surroundings and background. So sometimes I see people, and that I wonder why people do this and how people do this. People are just lying on their bed and the mobile is on their face, and they sometimes switch on their video also. See how funny it looks. Other people also get embarrassed. So be aware of what is the background that is going to be displayed when I'm speaking. If you cannot improve that background, there are professional artificial backgrounds, there are skins that you can use. A lot of almost all the softwares, video softwares have those skins used as artificial backgrounds. Always mute your microphone and video when you are not speaking. Always switch on when you are speaking. And also I find sometimes people switch on their camera and they grab a samosa. That's also very unprofessional. If you try to not to take any food that is considered unprofessional. You can take your tea maximum. That also, if it's a very serious meeting, you should not do that. And don't leave your seat. Sometimes people just log in and leave their seat. That's very unprofessional. If you're actually going, take permission and inform and then go and come back. The last two, we'll spend about 5-7 minutes. We are nearing 8. I think, let me check my watch. This is already 8, so maybe we are just exceeding a little bit, but I'll try to close as early as possible. This is one thing which I want to leave with very strong message to all of you. I find that we as Indians have a very, very bad approach towards safety. I told you the story of Middle East that I have personally experienced, and I experience it day in, day out. I used to live in Noida, and I remember my flat is on 7th floor. And when I got a connection of Dish TV, these two young boys came to our house, and I told them to put the dish antenna just near my balcony towards the, and I didn't want to actually block my balcony, so I told them to put it a little away from my balcony. Now this fellow, he was just standing on the balcony with all that big antenna and with a hammer in hand, nothing to hold. And on one hand, he was keeping that antenna there, and on the other hand, he was also trying to push a nail there. And I was so nervous, and I said, "क्या कर रहे हो?" बोला सर, मैंने बोला अरे ये 7वां, this is the 7th floor, and you can fall down. Of course, I spoke in Hindi to that fellow. बोला सर आप टेंशन मत लो, हम 3 साल से ये कर रहे हैं, आज तक कुछ नहीं हुआ. We have such a callous attitude towards safety. I said, nothing doing, you get down here. I'm not going to get this installed here. And I find this AC fit, there are people who come to fit AC. In fact, I told him to come back the next day. I bought a safety harness. And I said that if you have to stand here, you put this belt, safety belt in your, you put this on your body. And I hooked that safety belt to a strong anchor in the balcony itself, so that God forbid if that fellow falls, at least he will be suspended through this link. So this happens day in and day out on the roads, on the factories, with workmen, with contract workers, everywhere. We are so bad in safety. So friends, I am giving you a very serious message. Be very serious about safety. Value your own life and others' life. People die every day here. About 3.5 lakh people die every day in road accidents alone. Such a callous attitude. And that is everywhere in work. So be alert about safety. If you go to a factory, be very alert about safety. Don't allow any unsafe condition or any unsafe act. Try to intervene, take help. Don't start work if you don't have proper tools and personal protective equipments. Know the process well before doing work, and have zero tolerance towards conditions and practices. Because accident is very, very costly for a family, for the entire family, for the purpose, for the person and for the company also. And the final one, you will, in the span of your life, definitely or probably have some situations when you might feel that this is end of the tunnel. I'm I'm not succeeding. I'm really very sad, depressed. Believe me, nothing is end of the tunnel. Everything passes. Everything is impermanent. And Gautam Buddha, there is a famous uh, teaching by Gautam Buddha, and he says that everything is anitya. So don't be too passionate about success. Success is also anitya. It is also going to end someday, because you will be then chasing something else. So you will always, don't always chase success. And challenges are also anitya, impermanent. So if you have some bad phase in life, understand that you can always come out of that. And I'm going to end with a video, and this is a lovely video. And this video is by a person who has, his name is Nick, and you can see he doesn't have both the legs and both the hands. And I would request you to listen to this video, and there is where we will end this program today. So have a look. Just a moment. Just a moment. Let me. Is it visible? Is the screen visible?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay.
I want to talk about, like, when I started, going to school and stuff, a lot of people put me down, you know what I mean? Like, people tease each other. I mean, people come up and say, hey, you're fat, 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 do some weight. And you're like, you got who? And you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, right? And so many people tease each other. Oh, you're too short, you're too tall, you look whatever. You have different hair and all that. It doesn't matter. See, the thing is, when you're in school, when you're growing up in life, it actually sort of matters to people how you look. And then it matters to you because it matters to others. Why? Why does it matter how you look? Because if they don't like you, then who will? If they don't accept you, then who will? And the fear that we have is that we're going to be alone, that we're not good enough. And we have to change ourselves. So many people put me down and say, Nick, you look too weird and no one's really offended. You can't do this and you can't do that. And I couldn't change anything. It's not like just fixing my hair one day and everything's fine. It's not like, just whatever. I couldn't change my circumstance. I couldn't just one day wake up and say, hey, give me arms and legs. I need arms and legs. You know what I mean? Like, we went to a bodybuilder, so can you make me some arms and legs? No joking. Bodybuilder, you get it? Right? So this is, hey, I go up to people, can you give me a hand? You're joking. Yeah. But it was so hard because people put me down. And I started believing that I was not good enough. I started believing that I was bad. And it was so hard, man. I thought to myself, like, I thought, what kind of purpose do I have to live? I mean, are you just here to live to die? Is there not a purpose? And I had questions and no answers. And I asked myself, back twist and land on the floor. Okay? Is that cool? Are you ready? There's a clock there. Okay, give me the clock for a second. You ready? So, are you guys ready? Just let me know when you're ready. You ready? Okay, ready? 1, 2. Come back to me. Are you ready? Just put the clock back there. You might need to go break my ear or something. You know what I mean? But honestly, along the way, you might fall down like this, ready? Maybe about what people think of you, what people say about you. I'm down here, face down, and I have no arms, no legs. It should be impossible for me to get back up. I mean, you go home and tie the legs and arms of your brothers and sisters and like push them down and see how long it's going to take to get back up. You know what I mean? It should be impossible. I will try 100 times to get up, and if I fail 100 times, if I fail and I give up, do you think that I'm going to get up? It's just the fact that I'm not here today to tell you that I understand your pain. I don't know how it feels to be abused. I don't know how it feels to feel what that is to an eating disorder. I don't know how it feels to be alone. I don't know how it feels. I don't know how it feels to have a broken heart. And I want you to know that I feel this way. Jesus Christ, people like this way. I can either be angry for not having arms and legs or be thankful for my chicken drumstick. You see, I can still do a lot of things. I can brush my teeth, I'm traveling around the world, and it's amazing. But I had to ask myself a couple questions. And the first question was really, who am I? Who am I? I'm Nick Boyce, but who is that? It's funny how the friends around you sort of determine who you are. You change yourself. You come to school. And everybody swore around your house, so I started swearing. What was the cool thing to do?
That brings us to the end of this discussion, this structured discussion today. And now I think we have a little time. If you permit, I can take some of the questions. It depends on you how you want to take this further. So thank you very much. This is from me. And I now hand over to the organizers. Madam Raghushri.
Yeah, there are a few questions. I don't know whether we have that much of time, but I choose the best out of it in the order of my preference. The first one being, is there any advice how corporate have changed due to the pandemic?
Yes, corporates have changed in many ways. Number one is the usual face-to-face networking and face-to-face interaction that people used to have has in fact reduced tremendously. It is all digital connection these days. So that throws a bigger challenge for those who are now entering the corporate world in this pandemic situation. How do you network and create that trust? And even I see people struggling to create a good, strong peer group or friends, because digital connections are not that strong. So you have to be now think of other ways and means. You have to probably call up friends and call up some mentors and discuss them beyond the formal setting of meetings and create that connection. That is one thing which has happened. Number two, some corporates have become much more demanding in the sense of these IT related skills that people have, because you are now expected to work too much on the IT related aspects, and you are also expected to be almost omnipresent in many meetings. So you have to actually manage your time well and be very well conversant with all these technology gadgets. Number three, corporates are now looking at cost cutting in a big way, because a lot of top lines and bottom lines are getting impacted because of the business going away. So you have to be innovative in your approach, help corporates in cutting costs, and don't understand that it is their difficulty. Don't feel that they are actually putting you at disadvantage. There are situations where corporates are cutting salaries, they are actually trying to survive. So you have to understand the difficulties that corporates are facing, be with them. Times will change, have patience, and also in the meantime, keep enhancing your capabilities, because once this pandemic goes, there will be the demand will bounce back. So you will be much in demand if you have actually got those skills. So I would say corporates have changed in many ways. They have also become very aware that people can work from home, and they have understood that a lot of work can still be done without getting people actually to the offices. So they have understood this very well. I feel that going ahead, people will get this flexibility of work from home more and more. This is a positive impact on many people. Many people used to spend 3 hours, 2 hours commuting one way and the other. So that is, I think, will help many of you, because you will save a lot of time. Some companies might even go on this digital path for a very, very long time. So it has changed in mixed ways. You have to be more innovative, you have to be very cost conscious, you have to be technologically very savvy, you have to make efforts to make good networking, because digital networking is a little fragile networking. And then also you have to start learning new skills when this pandemic is there. So these are some of the, I think, advices that I would give the way corporate has changed.
Thank you so much. The second question is, how effective is social intelligence as against the emotional intelligence?
That's a very good question. Social intelligence is getting much and much significance these days. Emotional intelligence is while you're looking at the other person. Social intelligence is a much larger gamut, and you understand your role as a person in a larger canvas. Look yourself as your contribution on the social canvas, and there is something called, as they are now talking about, personal social responsibility. So beyond corporate social responsibility, we as humans also have certain personal social responsibility. So you have, this is a very noble thought, and the more you are connected to the society, the more you understand uh, challenges and perils of others and the society, a better professional you emerge, and your decisions in the corporate are much better. So I would say that this is a very, very good and important skill for individuals and leaders, and that will definitely go a long way in success. And as I said, ultimately what you have to achieve is happiness for everybody, for you and the people for for whom you care for, your employees, your contractors, your contract workers, everybody in society, so that the social concern and intelligence will be very, very valuable assets for you.
We
Hello.
have,
Hello.
Yeah.
we just have one more time for one more question. So how do I differentiate between excellence and perfection?
See, perfection is something which is unforgiving. In fact, if you might have heard in Japan, they have a tradition of keeping broken flower vases in the drawing room. Have you heard of this? This is
Yeah,
called
and
wabi sabi.
they
Yeah.
join it with
So
gold or
they
something.
love a little. Exactly. They repair it with a little gold solution, and they display it with pride. And they say that we are happy with imperfection. So everything in life need not be 100% perfect. So that brings a lot of anxiety. And sometimes if you expect 100% perfection, your subordinate, and you always keep on criticizing the person, his or her motivation level goes down. And if you expect 100% perfection yourself, then you might not be satisfied in life. So excellence is meeting the stakeholders' expectation. That is excellence. And if you want to create a line where everything has to be from point to my satisfaction, that is something which we call as looking for perfection. That may not be required everywhere, and that can create a lot of stress, so you have to also celebrate a little imperfection, because ultimately the result works. So delivery works. If a work is well delivered within the time and there is a little bit of imperfection, that is fine. The cost of perfection is too high. Perfection in itself is not bad, but the cost you pay for perfection is very, very high. So if you are meeting stakeholder expectation and stretching it beyond a little bit beyond that, that is what excellence needs.
This is one question which I don't want to miss, though that we have time constraint, but this is something which is very close to me, this question, because I also face the same problem. Sometimes my strength is my challenge, and how do I moderate that?
See, there can be 2-3 situations. See, we live in a connected world. Sometimes what happens, that something which you visualize as a strength in a particular situation or in a particular group or in a particular team, that might not be visualized as a strength. It's all about looking at the other side also. So while it may be your strength, probably you are in a situation when that strength is not actually a strength. So a strength also has to be looked at from the perspective of the situation and others that you are interacting with. So I would say that you have to actually look at strength from own perspective and from the other's perspective, and also see, probably, am I too focused on one of my strengths, and am I really probably not working on certain areas where I need to focus more. So I can imagine, when suppose you are very extrovert, or you speak uh, very well in gatherings. That is definitely considered sometimes a strength. But in a setup where a team has a lot of members who can't probably speak so well, and the task of team is very different, probably this strength might not play very well. There can be different situations. So there you have to understand that probably this strength I have to reserve for other occasions. Here what I bring to the table as a team is another strength which I have to cultivate. So of course that strength remains strength, but it may not be relevant in that particular context. So a strength also has a context attached to it. So a strength is not, I would say, standalone strength. A strength has to be weighed in the context. So if you feel that this probably is not the right context, I have to probably work on other strength as well. So don't only be focused on one strength. They say that if you have a certain core strength, there could be a basket of core strength. It may not be only one. One could be very strong. Maybe you will find a situation in somewhere in life that that strength will play very well. But probably in this particular situation, that strength is not that valuable, and you are only sticking to that strength. That is a weakness.
Absolutely.
So getting very much possessed and very much sticking to one dimension of strength is a weakness. You have to also look at other dimensions. I hope I am able to address it.
Absolutely. The perception of what you perceive as your strength is actually probably a challenge for you, which
is a challenge for you in that context. So you have to look
absolutely.
From that perspective as well.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Mr. Alok Kumar Tripathi, for the wonderful session that we had. And I don't think it would have been as informative and as educative for each one of us who are in the professional field today, and for the students. If it is informative for us and educating for us, I'm sure it would have been for all the students who are listening to this. And we would look forward to having you again in another time at another sequence of a session in whatever topic you would be wanting to share with. And I would look forward that in case if there is any questions that we missed out in asking because of the time constraint, if it will be okay with you, if we forward that, and if you could grace us with your answers, so that will facilitate the students.
Sure. It will be really a delight for me to be associated with you for any of the topics that I know a little bit of. It will be really great pleasure for me. You can reach me out anytime, and I would love to share whatever I know. And thank you, Ragashri Madam, and thank you, Rajesh ji, if he's connected, or convey my regards to him. Thank you, Sunil. Thank you, Nahas, Mr. Nahas, and all my dear young boys and girls, Chan Richard, Ashley, Jinu, a lot of other participants who are here. It was really a wonderful evening, and whatever little I knew, I thought of sharing with you. I hope you are carrying some learnings with you. Practice them in life. Or if you practice even 5-10% which you liked, or which actually which something which you have pondered about, it will be a success for me, and that will be my reward. And I look forward to speaking to you once again sometime in future. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you once again. It was really a great pleasure and privilege for me.
We have one of our student coordinator, Mr. Jain Richards. May I request Jain Richard to kindly come forward and give the vote of thanks, please?
Very warm evening to all the dignitaries present today. On behalf of the Trivandrum Management Association, I would like to thank Mr. Alok Kumar Tripathi. Thank you for that informative talk, sir. In this time of uncertainty and chaos, this talk is the proper dose of reassurance that every student needs. So thank you, and personally it was truly an eye-opener for me. Next, I would like to thank our President, Mr. Rajesh Jha. Thank you, sir, for all the guidance and support. I would like to thank Wing Commander Rajeshri Nair for being that pillar of support that you have been throughout the preparation of this event. Thank you, ma'am. I also extend my thanks to the Honorable Secretary, Mr. Sunil Kumar, for all the support. I would like to thank the host for the evening, Ms. Jinu and Ashley, and the team of TMA, Mr. Mukesh Chadha. Thank you for all the enormous cooperation. I thank the correspondent principal and faculties of the Department of Management Studies of St. Xavier's Catholic College of Engineering for all the support, both morally and logistically. Finally, to all the faculties and students of all the student chapters of TMA for showing out in big numbers. Thank you, and have a good week ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My regards to all of you once again. And if there are faculties from college who were connected, my regards to all of them. I did not address them while I was speaking, but my warm regards to all of you, all the faculty, all the friends, all young boys and girls, and all the office bearers of Trivandrum Management Association. You are doing wonderful work, connecting two parts of India. I'm sitting here in Chhatisgarh today, and a lot of students from different colleges, and you you're putting them in a beautiful garland. Wonderful work. Thank you very much.
Incidentally, before we wind up, as a parting note, let me say I'm also an MDI Gurgaon product of 2011.
Oh, great. Nice to know that. Great to connect.
Have a great weekend and a great new year.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Signing out now. Thank you.
Signing out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.